challenging to be in Washington, D.C. the minute a bill is passed, to understand exactly what it is, how it works, and how we can take advantage of it. As a matter of fact, I expect him to do a real class on how women can get to the C-suite, because he really understands how it all works. Give him a big round of applause. And so I'm so pleased to be with all of you tonight for this wonderful event and to accept the Women in the C-Suite Leadership Award. Thank you, Chairman Jean Hill, for that kind introduction. I have enjoyed so much working with you over the years. I've enjoyed going through the legislation and helping to understand the minute details of some of that legislation that many people never get to understand and utilize. So you've been a great help, not only to me, and you have served as an advisor from time to time, but we have worked together, as you said, in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C., and you know all of the chairs of the important committees to deal with. Another round of applause. And so I have with me this evening my daughter, Karen Waters, who is an entrepreneur also, and she's doing very good at it. As a matter of fact, she's got money. And so I am absolutely honored to receive this recognition and to be the first ever recipient. I know all too well the challenges and barriers African Americans must overcome to earn a seat in the C-suite. That's why when I became chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee, the first thing I did was to establish a subcommittee on diversity and inclusion. The first of its kind in the history of the Congress of the United States. This subcommittee is important because it allows the committee to evaluate the practices and policies that financial institutions and federal agencies use to increase diversity within their organizations, as well as to promote financial inclusion. Through this committee, and under the leadership of the subcommittee woman that I appointed for that particular subcommittee to chair it, and she's doing a wonderful job. Now, in her absence here, please give her a big round of applause, Chairwoman Joyce Beatty. Together, we've been able to hold hearings, publish reports, and collect important diversity and inclusion data. This is so very critical because it informs us about the impact that corporations have on the Black community and how we can hold the financial sector accountable. These hearings, reports, and data also help us to evaluate policies that ensure that more African Americans are in the C-suite, and particularly more Black women. Serving on boards of directors or leading companies as successful entrepreneurs, we're so close to doing what should have been done a long time ago. As we know, it is not ability, but opportunity that is not equally shared. These rules and increasing access to capital are important to building wealth in our community and closing the widening racial wealth gap. That's why I sponsored H.R. 2543, the Financial Services Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Economic Justice Act, which is a comprehensive legislative package that passed the House in June. This bill includes a number of provisions, including to address inflation through a racial equity lens, and also it includes the kind of information that has never been addressed in the House of Representatives of the Congress of the United States. This legislation was designed to combat discrimination in lending so that we can create more wealth-building opportunities for people of color. Small businesses are the lifeline of our communities, yet, as we have seen time and time again, Black-owned small businesses are often neglected in terms of resources and funding, especially by mainstream financial institutions, and more so, this has been the case with Black women. Furthermore, since the 2008 financial crisis, we have also unfortunately lost more than half of our Black-owned banks. It is through access to contracts and capital that business owners, like many of the members of this chamber, start and grow. And so, I thought that I should fight, and I did. I fought to secure a $60 billion set-aside for community leaders, including minority depository institutions and community development financial institutions, to deliver Paycheck Protection Program loans to underserved small businesses. In December 2020, I worked to secure an unprecedented $12 billion in capital investments and grants to support and strengthen these MDIs, these minority development institutions, and CDFIs, which have a track record for serving small businesses, especially businesses owned by people of color. I'm pleased that nearly $10 billion have already been deployed, with the remaining portion to be delivered soon. I understand that one of our CDFIs will be here this evening, or is here this evening, Linda Street, who's done a fabulous job. Not only has Linda Street been able to access capital, they have learned how to not only deal with the major financial institutions in order for these financial institutions to understand how they can invest in opportunities in our community, for Blacks, for women in particular, and for Black women. And so, I work very closely with these CDFIs. They were a forgotten group when I got on the committee and when I started to chair the committee. And so we understood that there was something called CDFIs, but they were not well funded. And so we started to open up these opportunities to work with the Treasury to get more money, and that's where this $12 billion is coming from, that I worked with Senator Warner to get to our CDFIs so that they can put that money out into our community. I'm also pleased to replenish and expand the state small business credit initiative program with $10 billion to be leveraged to over $100 billion in new small business loans, investments, and technical assistance. To date, the Treasury Department has awarded $4.8 billion in funding to states, including $1.1 billion for the state of California. Gene, did you get some of that money? Not a lot of people know about this program, and we've got to do more to get the information out so that we can ensure that the state of California does not steal all of the money for other kinds of uses rather than putting it where we wanted it to come. And so, while I've been hard at work to close the access to capital gap, we also know that it is through home ownership that most people build their wealth. For many entrepreneurs of color, home equity is used to fund their businesses. So we must work to continue to close the home ownership and valuation gaps. That is why, again, I introduced H.R. 4495, the Down Payment Toward Equity Act, to provide down payment assistance to first-generation home buyers and to close the racial home ownership gap. Lastly, we need to do more to support entrepreneurship. I drafted H.R. 7978, the Promoting and Advancing Communities of Color through Inclusive Lending Act, to provide MDIs and CDFIs with an additional $4 billion in capital investments and grants as it became clear that there is more support that we should provide these diverse and mission-driven financial institutions. Among other things, my bill would create a new CDFI program to incentivize lenders to provide startup capital and other support focused on millennials and other young entrepreneurs. So there is so much to do, and I continue to fight to ensure that these policies become a reality. The last thing I'd like to say is to thank you for the important work that you do to build pathways to opportunity. We cannot get these things done without a robust, all hands on deck. I thank you so very much for this honor, and I hope that we will have a wonderful evening. Really, in closing, let me just say this, and it was mentioned earlier, Black women are on the move. Yeah. We're on the move politically, we're on the move on Wall Street, and we are gaining access to the C-suite. Yeah. This has not been easy. It has been a long time coming, but once Black women get started on an issue, there's no stopping. And yes, sometimes they will say that we're too competitive, that we're too bold, that we're too confrontational. I welcome all of that. We have to use our power to make believers out of those who think they can continue to operate in ways that they have operated in the past. And so let me just say to Jean, remember, when we did the response to the pandemic, and we opened up the PPP program. With the PPP program, the big banks and financial institutions used it as an opportunity to create their own portals for their concierge clients. And they left out the small and minority businesses. But this is why diversity is so important. Working with Nita Velasquez, we went to Nancy Pelosi and to the treasurer and to everybody else. And we got $60 billion more that we put into MPI and CDFI. That's what would have happened if we had not been there. So we've got to open up the opportunities for people, no matter where they're starting, to get into positions where they can use their influence, they can use their power, they can know what is going on. And I want to say to you all, we will act differently than those who have had these opportunities in the past and didn't take advantage of them. If you're in the back room and you know what's going on and you see how it works and you keep your mouth shut, then you're not doing us any good. I implore you, once you're in these opportunities, use them. Do not be afraid. Do not be intimidated. Just do what Auntie Maxine tells you to do.